Hi. So it's my Friday, which is a Thursday every other week. So what that means is I've got after today 3 days coming up to prepare for next week, which this is my last week. Oh my gosh, this is it from this week. This is the start of my last week in this home, 7th Street Market. If all goes well next week with my wife's interview, I'll be moving to our apartment tomorrow, next week, on Friday. So it's a big week. But I was just walking out the door, and I was thinking about some of the close calls that I had in this last 14 months coming back, and I thought of a few things in terms of the difficulties that I faced in reacclimating. And I thought, 3 or 4 things that I wanted to share with you, that if you're abroad, if you're from the United States, or probably from most countries, these rough ideas apply. If you're abroad and you want to come back, these are 4 things that are going to help you. And I'm gonna go. Hope I can remember all 4 of them. That's the trouble with getting old. You can't remember anything. There they are, but then I might end up with 2 or 3. Okay, the first one is specifically here, driver's license. The very first hurdle that I faced in coming back was my lack of a driver's license, and I told the story about how I was given the offer of employment, and I didn't have a license. I was taking the test for the license. They literally were calling me on the phone for my driver's license information in order to process my acceptance for the job that I took. And I'm standing there at the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, looking at the woman testing the thing, and and they asked me on the phone, they said, "What's your license number?" And I looked at her and she said, "You passed." I said, "Great, what's my number?" And she told me, and I related it on the phone. I can't believe it. I mean, this whole 14 months has just been one experience like that after another. But it was a lot of heart palpitations that was happening. That could have been easily resolved if I had simply kept my California license current, my driver's license current, which I could have easily done. So keep your license current if you can. Another one is credit. Maintain your credit. I probably should have saved that. You're supposed to go work your way up to the most important. I know a lot of people don't like credit, but it's really important to get things done. I mean, if you want to buy a car, remember, I don't know if you guys were following, but the first month that I was here, my struggles to try and get a vehicle, I was horrible. I was dependent on my coworkers. I really felt I inconvenienced people because I couldn't find nobody would give me credit to buy a vehicle. Now you could overcome that if you just came over with the cash and bought it that way, that's for sure. But the credit's going to help out with a lot of other things as well. For example, I just submitted my application last week for the apartment, and the credit history was very important for that. They count that as well. So get that credit up, and that's not too hard to do. You can maintain a credit card out of your country wherever you are abroad, and simply use it wisely and pay it off. Use it prudently and pay it off timely, and you should be in good shape. So there was that. Oh yeah, your job. Whatever skills you've got when you leave, try to keep in the mix, so that because if you try to go back and you want to get back into that field, you need to be kind of current and maybe have your foot in the door. When I decided, I was from IT. I left in 2003 and decided to come back in 2014, and my skills were more than a decade out of sync. And boy, did I have a hard time. Literally, when I left, I've said this before, the whole theme in IT was distributed architecture, and I tried to specialize in distributed architecture. And I said, I'm going to get back into IT. I can leverage that skill. No, it's all consolidated. Distribution is what we don't want to do. We want to have high availability, high reliability in a consolidated environment. And I wasn't ready for that. Now, I could have done that. I could have kept current in a couple of ways. One is through keeping my nose to my ear to the ground with trade periodicals, reading vlogs and the like that are relative to that. That's one way. Another way that I found very useful is LinkedIn. LinkedIn, not just the connections that it has there, but the communities in LinkedIn and the topic discussion boards where they're talking about subjects. That's very useful. And I did leverage that when I decided to go back to try and get my foot in the door. If I'm going fast, it's because I need to go. They're giving free coffee at Panera every day through April, and so I want to get my coffee before I go to work. Busy day today. The other way that you can keep current, and the other thing I had to do is I had to get certified. When I started looking for a job in the United States, this was back in 2013. Oh, there's the moon. Can you see? There she is. Oh, fair Cynthia, all homage that I may, unto a creature, unto thee I pay, in lonesome wood to meet so kind a guide, to me's more worth than all the world beside. I think that was that I can't remember her name. It was a 19th century poet. She wrote that as she was a Puritan. She was carted through the woods in the middle of the night and feeling very lonely and scared in the woods. And she looked up at the moon and saw the moon and the constancy of the moon. And Cynthia is what they called the moon back then in her circles. She wrote that poem, and it's been stuck in my head ever since. Boy, do I digress when I need coffee, especially. So the other thing was certification. When I found out I needed to get back into my job, I was told by a potential employer, Kurt, you need to up your skills. You need to rearm yourself with new training. So I had to pay my own way and go through the whole thing to get certified, take courses online, get proctored exam. I got a proctored examination, and that really helped. And not only did it help me to land the job, but it helped me during the job. It really wasn't until about a year into the job that I really felt I was back on my feet. And it's really just recently that I'm really feeling like I go into work and I'm not a stranger in this environment, but I'm back in the IT world. It took 14 months to catch up from a year's absence. Hard work, the hardest year of work I've ever done. And the most challenging. Okay, so that was that. We talked about driver's license, credit, job, and the last one that I wanted to mention, I got it to the fore, was taxes. Pay your taxes. I don't know about other countries, but here in the United States, it's not hard to do. If you're living abroad and earning and living abroad, you can just get your tax form, and there's a check. I can't remember what box it is, but if you go through it, you'll find it. There's a box for foreign income exclusion. I think that's what it's called, the foreign earned income exclusion. And you just check that checkbox, which basically says, I'm living abroad and paying the taxes abroad. I don't need to pay it here. They're not going to charge you double up to a certain amount. After that, they will charge you double. But I never made that much. So you do that, and then you write in the amount that you made, and you submit it, and that's it. You're done. It's easy. And if you do something like TurboTax online, you can do it in a morning at home. Less than that, you can do it in an hour, and you're done every single year. And it costs you about $40. It's easy to do. If you do that, it's really important, because then you have that has hit me a number of times, especially through this immigration process of bringing my wife over. And of course, to come over and have my taxes in order, it is U.S. law that even if you're living abroad, Americans need to file their taxes. So it's helped me many times through this immigration process, being able to go to the IRS, request tax transcripts, they get these nice documents. You can send that to immigration. That makes them happy. They're going to let you bring your spouse over, and you'll be in good shape. So that's it. Time for me to get some coffee. My 4 tips for those living abroad, particularly Americans living abroad, who are thinking about coming back and want to be ready for that big transition. Keep your driver's license. Keep your job skills up. What's the other one? See, this is what I was telling you. I was going to forget. Keep your job skills up. Oh gosh, write poems to the moon and do your taxes and whatever that third one was. Okay, see you all later. Bye-bye.